I'm going to trust my guy Caleb on this, because when I see the term deep historical ties, it means that Caleb knows something about Tennessee football history that I do not, and I'm willing to admit that. So what are those ties? Brought to you by Sports Treasures, that has your ties to the past with over 5 million sports treasures and memorabilia right there, including my book, which you can order right down below. And we would certainly love for you to do that. I see some ratings on Amazon. Certainly appreciate you that have purchased that there, but love to give you an autographed copy as well. So you can go to offthehooksports.com and order one, or you can go to Sports Treasures and follow them on Facebook if you want to find a good deal or something kind of cool, especially with the upcoming holiday season. Sports Treasures TN on Facebook. Sports Treasures TN on Facebook. Caleb, these Vols Aggies ties, I don't see a lot of ties, but I know you do. So I see basically the games that I've been alive for that they played, but I know you can go much deeper in that. Deep dive, Caleb. Learn some stuff. Here, take me, young man.
So they have played 4 times in history. There are just the only 4 times they've played, and then they're the deep, direct ties they have beyond playing each other. Do you want me to start with the games themselves or the ties they have that go beyond the games?
You start with whatever you think's most compelling.
Okay, so these ties, guys, by the way, go all the way back to the 1900s. I mean, the first decade of the 20th century. So Texas A&M, one of their first coaches ever was Charley Moran, who played for Tennessee in 1897. There's a young guy who played for Texas A&M's freshman team under Charley Moran at Texas A&M in 1910 by the name of Robert Neyland, who played at Texas A&M. He then transferred to West Point, so he's considered a West Point grad, but he was on the A&M freshman team. And for those who forget, he is from Texas, Neyland is. Now, Charley Moran then recommended Neyland for the assistant coaching job at Tennessee in 1925, and then he became the head coach a year later. So Texas A&M produced Robert Neyland. That's the start, and Tennessee produced the coach who found Robert Neyland when he was at Texas A&M. So there's already that connection. Now it goes a little deeper. 1939, Texas A&M's their only AP national title is 1939 when they went undefeated. Very controversial. Because, as you know, Dave, during that time, the national champion was determined before the bowl games, right? Bowls were just an exhibition. The regular season mattered. Tennessee finished the regular season undefeated, untied, and unscored on, and they were in the midst of a 23-game winning streak that dated back to 1937, and they had won a share of the national title in 1938. By any reasonable metric, they should have been number 1 in the AP poll. However, because George Cafago was hurt, the polls took that into account for some reason, and they gave the national title to Texas A&M, who was also undefeated. Very controversial national title. Tennessee should have been named national title that year. Tennessee did lose to USC in the Rose Bowl, but again, bowls were exhibitions, and George Cafago wasn't playing in that game because he was hurt. So,
not to mention that it would be North Mexico A&M if not for the Tennessee Volunteers that saved that state. Just go ahead and throw that out there. What about that?
That's a very, very good point. That's a great point. And okay, so
let me ask you this: you have one word to describe Texas A&M as a program, as a college football program. Do we have any more ties to Tennessee, or can I ask this
question? Many more. I've got to keep going. It's way deeper than you realize.
Okay, roll me out a couple more. Then I want everybody on the message board to think about this and give me a word. It's fill in the blank time, and the word is Texas A&M's program is blank.
Well, my word's easy for that, but it's I'll get to that. So, okay, so 1957, Tennessee plays Texas A&M in the Gator Bowl. That's Bear Bryant's last game at Texas A&M before he takes the coaching job at Alabama, and Tennessee beats Texas A&M in that game. All right, so moving on forward, 1980s, Jackie Sherrill built his career at Texas A&M. Sherrill was a protege of Johnny Majors.
Yes.
When they were at Pitt. Now, Here's the big one.
Jackie Sherrill, the only coach to wear snakeskin boots to SEC Media Days. Continue, sir.
Oh, that's great. So Tennessee,
the real pointy ones too.
So Tennessee emerged as a national power thanks to Robert Neyland. They owe that to Texas A&M. They also owe their 98 national title to Texas A&M because a former Tennessee quarterback who lost his starting job to Peyton Manning and Brandon Stewart transferred to Texas A&M and then upset Kansas State in the 98 Big 12 title game. And even though Tennessee was the better team than Kansas State during that time, John Chavis had no idea how to defend the triple option. So, Dave, I'm thoroughly convinced if Tennessee's playing Kansas State in the national title, Kansas State wins that game.
All right. Here, fill in the blank. On the message board, Texas A&M's football program is blank. What is yours?
Underachieving. They are a program that has all the infrastructure to have been a top 10 program in history, and they're not top 25. They're the Mets of college football.
Well, couldn't they be the Braves, who only win one championship under 14 years with Bobby Cox? I mean,
no, because the Braves were contenders. Texas A&M has spent half their time not even being contenders.
No.
I
just think they're goofy. That's my word, is goofy. And let me hear your word. But they've got like a little border collie that they run around, which is not intimidating. If you stand next to Mike the Tiger in his cage at LSU and he hisses at you, you may need to go to the restroom really quickly. I'm not worried about the border collie. Also, it went viral this week. Their little rah-rah chant thing they do. I don't know if you saw that, where they do a whoa, and it's just awful and incredibly weird. So that's terrible. They're goofy because they think that they can just go out and buy things, and maybe they can, but they can't necessarily buy championships. So I would just go goofy. How about you on the message board? Lassie, or do you mean lazy? I don't know. They're lazy. They're trying to spend money.
No, Lassie is a border collie.
Oh, Lassie, yes.
So look, I think Texas A&M has had, I don't know what the problem is with them as a program. I don't know why they have been I don't know why they were never on the level of Texas historically, because they should have been there. They should be a top 10 program of all time. If you look at their history and look at recruiting in Texas and the oil money that's down there. And also, here's the weird part. Yeah, University of Texas is in Austin, but East Texas is where all the talent is in Texas, right? For recruiting.
Yeah, I mean, I never.
Texas A&M is a lot closer to the talent proximity wise than Texas, right?
All right, there you go. Dan gets us rolling. Not well coached. Okay, that's a good one. What else from the message board?
I mean, I think
Goofy is still the best.
Yeah, but okay, they have Lassie, but Georgia has Uga. That's laughable too. Are you threatened by a little bulldog?
What about the 12th man thing, where some guy just ran in from the stands and played? Is that a good college football tradition, or is that just kind of goofy?
It's better than Mississippi State's cowbells, because a cow got loose in Starkville.
No way, cowbell way better. Starkville, very underrated venue.
No, the stadium, not the town. Yeah. Not the town, okay? I would rather live in Auburn than Starkville, and that's saying something, because Auburn is the worst place in the SEC to live.
Yeah, but very, very loud there, so I'll give them credit. Well, I'm going with goofy, unless anybody has a better one. I think it's just kind of a goofy program. You see the teams that are coming over to the SEC. Texas is Texas, right? Oklahoma is Oklahoma, right? And you had Texas.
But why has Texas A&M never been on that level? That's the weird part.
They're not the state school. It's the same thing with Alabama, Auburn. And that means something to some kids.
But Auburn has some national championships in recent years to their resume. Texas A&M's got nothing. And that's the weird part. And also, again,
brother.
Texas A&M's not the state school. But Oklahoma has more tradition than A&M by getting Texas recruits. So how does Oklahoma have more tradition than Texas or Texas A&M for that matter?